Welcome everyone to today's session for National Careers Week, being the best version of you, a guide to putting your best foot forward. Today we're joined by STEM ambassador Joe Arday, and he's a great STEM ambassador who's got so many accomplishments too, and he's a computer teacher and he's got so many other things he does. So he will help you today to making sure actually you get the best out of this session. So I'll hand over to you, Joe.
Thank you very much, STEM learner. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joe Arday, and today I'm going to talk to you about being the best version of yourself, a guide to put your best foot forward. Now, just a bit about myself. Obviously, I grew up in a council estate in Lambeth, South London, and the challenges that I faced as a young person was being an SEN student in both primary and secondary school. I struggled with my speech, my reading, my writing. Parents told I wouldn't amount to anything by the teachers that were taught me. And as a black male growing up in a council inner city, London, including temptations of gang life, a path that some people I grew up with followed at 16. So those were the temptations that I grew up around me. How did I sort of overcome those challenges? Well, I was very fortunate to have great people around me, especially my parents and my mum and my dad and my grandmother. They allowed me to express myself and told me to have confidence in my abilities. And this is where the idea of, a guide to putting your best foot forward came about. Because when I was 16, I remember sitting in my parents' room and I wrote down on 3 bits of paper what I wanted to do at 16, what I wanted to do at 18, and what I wanted to do beyond that. And that is how I sort of was able to sort of, in a sense, chart my objectives, my action plan, and what I wanted to do once I finished school. Now, talking about the importance of resilience, I mean, if you get knocked down, I'm a firm believer you dust yourself down and go again. And anything you can do, I can do better. And those are the things that my dad always said to me. And always challenge yourself to be a better version of yourself. And I use the phrase, no retreat, no surrender, no quitting yourself. However tough things get, you can always find a way. And I'm a firm believer of that. So before I became a teacher, an educator, and a STEM ambassador, I actually started off in the tech industry. And my first job, I started my career back in 2007. And I worked as an IT consultant project manager for a software company. Followed by that, I worked in the city a few years later. And it wasn't until 2009 when I decided to sort of take a leap into education and become the educator of STEM and computer science. And now, fast forward to 2022, I train teachers on the national on a computer science course called National Centre of Computing. So I train fellow computer science teachers. I'm a STEM ambassador, and I've been a STEM ambassador for 3 to 4 years, and I'm part of the STEM family. So some of you probably are asking, what did you decide to do? Well, someone was good to me once when I was young, and I referred to a teacher. It could be a teacher, could be, a youth club leader, for example. Could be, for example, if you do sports, a sports coach. And this kind of shaped the person I am today. And my aim is to kind of do the same for the generations after me, and that includes my children. Now, a typical day in my profession. Well, for me, it's learning about the latest events in tech and STEM, such as cybersecurity or cloud computing, teaching, training fellow teachers on computer science curriculum, and running STEM events as a STEM ambassador. And so my day is not a completely different, the same day. It's different things. So, for example, I teach year 13s, obviously IT, and one of the things we'll be looking at is career options beyond, 18 in terms of doing apprenticeships and obviously university. Now, you probably wonder, would I definitely recommend being a teacher, or my career in tech as well as being a teacher? I would definitely recommend having a career in tech. And now these days, there's a major drive to encourage people from diverse backgrounds and young women to go into the world of tech. And it doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, well, I'm going to go into tech and that's it. You can do so many things. You can be the CEOs of tomorrow. And, I will probably encourage you as well, if you do go into the tech industry, become a STEM ambassador, and inspire the next generation after you. It's important the next generation sees you and looks to follow in your footsteps. So, how to make yourself stand out? Volunteering. For me, when I was at university, I volunteered as I trained to become a football coach. I hold a level coaching certificate with the FA, and I basically offered football coaches to my local primary school, to the primary school that I attended when I was a young person. And off the back of that, I worked with Queen's Park Rangers Football Club to support young people, during the soccer summer school. And this is something that I did during university. So volunteering and helping your local community or giving up some time to help an organisation is a brilliant thing to make yourself stand out. Upskilling yourself, learning a new language. Consider learning a new language. For example, Duolingo is free and you can learn a new language. During the lockdown, I learned French, and I'm still learning French, despite taking French 20 years earlier and for GCSE. And finally, upskilling yourself. So learning a new skill, you can use brain platforms such as FutureLearn or Skills Builder. Especially if you like the world of tech, there's stuff out there for if you want to learn about programming, obviously programming Python, you learn about project management, artificial intelligence. There's plenty out there for you to learn. Now, when I was young, going back to obviously when I was younger, and I've talked about obviously sitting in my mum and dad's room and writing down what I want to do at 16, 18, and also beyond. I use the phrase visualize it to see it mentality, and choosing your A levels for your career and how to research is part one. So I want you to think about the action plan I've given to you, and if you've had a chance to fill it in, great. If you haven't, please fill in as I'm talking during the session. Think about the career you want to do. What do you want to do career-wise? What is your career goal? Where do you see yourself in your 20s, your 30s and beyond? And as you step backwards, look at university. So what university would you like to attend? What degree course do you want to study? Would you consider undertaking an industrial placement year within your degree, if it's possible to get job experience you need? Would you consider doing further studies such as a master's or a PhD? And again, it could be doing an apprenticeship. You could do like a level 4, 5 or 6 apprenticeship. You may decide as well, if you do an apprenticeship later on in life, to study part-time while you're working full-time as well, to get the best of both worlds. Now, again, so you've thought about planning your career and you've planned about what you want to achieve in terms of, your degree or maybe your apprenticeship if you decide that's the route you want to go. So we're now going to look at post-16 because obviously being at Key Stage 4 in year 10 to 11, you really need to think about what you're going to do at 16 and beyond. So number one, think about 6 months in college. Think about your A levels or vocational courses you're interested in studying, and will they help you your career goal in terms of the job you want to achieve? If obviously you want to go into work-based learning such as apprenticeship, choose an apprenticeship based on your chosen career. Is there opportunities to study for qualifications part-time, as mentioned earlier, such as a degree, a master's, maybe vocational qualifications or A levels? And finally, how to become a competitive candidate. The application starts before you submit it. Show interest early on and be inquisitive. Look at undertaking an internship before and after university to gain experience in your chosen field. So for example, when you hit year 12, for example, if you're a year 11 student going into year 12, I know STEM Learning run a fantastic program called the Enough Field Research Program, which gives you 6 weeks during the summer holidays to get some industrial experience in the world of STEM. And it's a free program and definitely worthwhile taking it up. And always put your best foot forward. For example, create yourself a LinkedIn profile, document your successes and network with potential employers because you never know. A job may come up that you may like and really see yourself doing, and all it takes is someone just to mention your name in a LinkedIn profile and say, and before you know it, you've had that organization get in contact with you, and you could be also working in your dream role. Now, words of wisdom from myself. Okay, so wise head to the next generation, as I have 20 plus years on all of you. Try and appreciate success. I mean, celebrate success that you've achieved. However big or small it is, always celebrate. It could be you did really well in your mock exams, you did well at the end of your test or class test. It's success, and success breeds success. And the more successful you become, the more confidence and belief you have in yourself. Every day is a new day. You can learn something new regardless of your age. And in life, anything's possible if you put your mind to it. Work hard and try. Also, age comes to us all. So while you're young and you've got the energy, make the most of your opportunities. Go out there, learn. You can learn at any age, but learn while you're young, while you've got energy. Try your best and find at least one thing you're grateful for each day. So for me, for example, I'm grateful for my family, and without my family, I wouldn't be Joe Arday, the person who's sitting here today. Always believe in yourself, regardless of what people say. Stay true to yourself and follow your path and challenge yourself to pursue your interests. Even if they're scary, no retreat, no surrender. As I mentioned before, no quitting on yourself, regardless how hard things are. And always have a backup plan. If your original plan doesn't work, there's nothing wrong with starting again if you have to. And trust me, I've started again. As I mentioned before, I worked in the tech industry, and then I started again and I became a teacher and educator. And now STEM ambassador as well. So my closing message to all of you is this. Remain humble and always thank the people who have supported you along your journey and beyond. Because without your support, your friends, your family, your teachers, you wouldn't be where you are. And life's an adventure, so make it a good one. So you're able to look back with a smile on your face, you know, when you hit retirement age, or even, you know, when you have your own families. And if you can, help and empower people when you can. It's very important. Even if you at least help one person, that's the one person, as I mentioned before, was good to you when you were young. Do the same. You know, pay it forward, as they say in African, in Ghanaian culture. And in life, if you want something, work hard, go out there and take it. And those are my sort of my messages of empowerment for you, all of you. Now, what I've done is I've provided some resources for you. So, and this PowerPoint will be shared with your with yourselves, with your respective schools, and some information you can find about careers in different areas, including Nuffield STEM research placements. Also, BT obviously have industrial placements, and LinkedIn, how to create a LinkedIn profile. And here's some more, as I mentioned, Future Learn, so about careers in tech. Duolingo, definitely learn a language, recommend it. I'm learning French now, you know, and I did French 20 years ago, and I'm loving learning French now. And you've got tons of things such as Cisco Systems and Microsoft Learn for Students and Coursera, and they're all fantastic platforms for learning new tech skills. Many thanks for attending today's session, and I look forward to taking your questions. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Joe. That's a really good presentation. Now, I have got some questions that have come through from some of our listeners. So the first question is, what's your favourite thing about being a teacher?
My favourite thing about being a teacher, do you know what? There's so many things, but I think for me personally, with the fact that when I work with young people and they've learned something from me, and several years later, when they're grown adults and they see me in the street and shake my hand and say thank you, that is probably one of my favourite things. Knowing that you've made a difference to that young person, especially when they say thank you as an adult.
Okay. Another question is, what job did you do in tech?
So I started off as an IT project manager and an IT consultant. That's how I started off first. And then I worked in technical support in the city for Lloyds TSB. And then I stepped into the world of teaching and education.
Great. And what areas of tech are there to go into?
Well, there are many areas of tech. Well, from what I've researched upon, major areas include artificial intelligence. I hope you've got a pen and paper for this. Cybersecurity is a big one. Esports. So I know a lot of young people like their gaming. Esports is a massive industry. So those are sort of the three industries that are looking for people, especially artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and esports, because they're both kind of growing industries, especially esports.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, and do I need a degree to get into the tech industries?
No, not necessarily. These days now, if you fast forward 20 years ago, so when I was in school 20 years ago, we were told to go through the process of going to sixth form and then go on to university. Nowadays, you can do an apprenticeship in anything, even in the tech industry. So you can do an apprenticeship in cybersecurity at 16, you could do an apprenticeship at 18. You know, I would suppose say that having a degree wouldn't necessarily hurt you, but don't feel like it's you know, a given. You must do it straight away. Do an apprenticeship if that's what you want to do. Build your experience, you know, because put it this way, you can always do a degree later in life. And as you know, and I hope you didn't know, if you didn't know this, a mature student is actually at the age of 21 at university.
Okay, so leading on from that, I do actually have another question that's come through. It says, what did you study at university?
Well, my degree was in information systems, so I obviously that's what I studied at university, and I always had an interest in computer science and IT. Well, IT back then, in the mid 90s, early 2000s, and business. That was kind of the area I studied into. And funny enough, looking at my two careers, if I put them side by side, there's a lot of stuff that I've learned in my first career and in my university career that I still sort of apply to now in my teaching. You know. So definitely, like I said, you know, university is something that I attended and something that I wanted to do. You may wish to go to university, but there's also apprenticeships out there as well. So there's something for everyone. Don't feel that you must go through the conventional route. Okay, I must do my A-levels or vocational A-levels and then go on to university. You might decide, you know, I might be better off at the age of 16 or 18 to do an apprenticeship and then later on in life do your degree. And give you an example, my mother went to university after having 3 children, you know, later on in life. And we were school age, as in like 2 of us were secondary school age, and the young one was in primary school. So you can, you know, my advice is, as my mum always said to me, while you're younger, you've got energy, you know, do your studying and work hard now, and then you can enjoy the fruits of your labour in your 20s and your 30s when you're successful and beyond.
Brilliant, thank you. That's really good advice. And thank you so much for doing that talk today. And thank you everybody who's been watching and listening. So you will be able to watch the talk again on the website when it goes up. And the links will also be there as well. And thank you.
Now, well, I'd like to thank all the schools that have attended today. Thank you so much for attending today. I really hope you found this video, this session worthwhile. And if you do need to get in contact with me, I'm sure that as a STEM ambassador, STEM learner will put you in touch with me for any other questions you may have. And we wish you all a good day. Take care, work hard, and see you soon. See you in the future.